video of your audit of investment. But please note na ang i-discuss ko lang po dito is until investment in associate, and I will not include audit of derivatives onwards because you have to know first yung concepts ng succeeding topics before you can appreciate the audit of these topics, okay? Which we will be discussing that pagdating sa second semester ninyo or next semester ninyo. Kaya hindi ko po siya i-include dito sa lecture. Alright? Okay, so let's start. Okay. Okay, so financial instrument is only recognized when an entity becomes a party to a contractual provisions of the instrument. Okay? So, kailan nagiging party ang isang entity kapag kasama na sila doon sa kontrata with regards to instrument. It's either sila yung debtor or sila yung bumibili ng financial instrument. Okay. So when we say financial asset, it is a cash, it is a contractual right or a contract that may be settled on the entity's own equity instrument, or it is also an equity instrument of another entity. So kailan nagiging financial asset yan? Kapag ikaw ay meron kang hinahawakan na equity from another firm, or meron kang cash, but you know naman na ang cash has a separate provision under our PFRS. Okay? So, so what is fair value? When we say fair value, it is the current market price. Okay? It's the price that would be received to sell an asset or to pay or transfer a liability in an orderly transaction, in an arm's length transaction. Okay? So, if the fair value is not available, what you should get is the quoted price in the active market or the present value of the related cash flows using the effective interest method. So, paano ba natin itong quoted price in the active market? Usually, makikita ninyo yan sa problem like quoted at 98, at 99, ibig sabihin, the face of the financial asset should be multiplied by, for example, it is currently quoted at 98, sabi niyang ganun. So, ang face value ng iyong financial asset is 1 million. So, you just have to multiply 1 million to 0.98. Okay? Well, the present value of your related cash flows using the effective interest method is ano ba yung makukuha mong cash flows from the financial asset. So, dito sa present value ng related cash flow, kapag tayo ay merong financial asset, usually dalawa po ang nakukuha natin. It's the recovery of the principal at saka recovery ng interest. Okay? So, you have to get the present value of the principal and you have to get the present value of interest. Okay? Take note, it depends upon the situation kung ano ang ginagamit ninyong present value factor. Just a review, meron tayong several present value factors. We have present value of 1, present value of ordinary annuity. We also have present value of annuity due. So, now that you are already in your third year, dapat basic na po sa inyo kung kailan ginagamit itong tatlong present value na to. So, just a review, ang present value of 1, ginagamit yan kapag yung magiging payment ninyo will be one time. Okay? Will be one time. Like for example, meron this 2025, umutang ka, okay, ng 1 million pesos. And you have to pay it next year. Okay? Hindi via installment, but next year. Okay? So, in that case, you have to use present value of 1 because the amount will not be paid in installment, but rather it will be paid in one whole amount. Okay? So, that's the use of your present value of 1. How about present value of ordinary annuity? So, ang present value of ordinary annuity is you have to pay it installments, kaya nga may annuity. Pag may nakita kayong word na annuity, it means na meron kayong annual payment. Kaya lang, ang pagkakaiba nito sa annuity due is it depends upon the timing. Okay? So, kapag ordinary annuity ang gagamitin ninyo. Kailan yan? If the installment payment is payable at the end of the year. End of the year. Okay? Paano naman yung annuity due na present value factor? We use present value of annuity of 1, we use the annuity due present value factor kapag yung payment is meron kang, it is done beginning of the year pa lang. Okay? So actually, ang present value of ordinary annuity at saka present value of annuity due is the same. Okay? It's just that kulang lang ng isang period. So kapag kunwari sa present value of ordinary annuity, i-testing ninyo ha. Ang present value of ordinary annuity may +1 yung period. Okay? So parehas lang ang present value of ordinary annuity for 2 periods at a certain percentage sa present value of ordinary annuity sa 1 period lang. Okay? Advance lang yung ordinary annuity. Okay? So what are transaction costs? So financial assets, like any other assets, these are directly attributable costs of bringing the asset to its present condition and location. So transaction costs, para makuha mo yung financial asset, ano ba yung kailangan mong i-expense? Okay? So those are your transaction costs. So punta tayo sa classification ng financial assets. So the classification of financial assets is very important because it will determine how you are going to measure the so-called financial assets. Okay? So the financial assets shall be measured at amortized cost if both of the following conditions are met. Okay. So pag sinabi nating amortized cost, yan po yung ginagamitan natin ng effective interest method. Okay? Yung gumagawa po kayo ng table. Okay? Yan po yung amortized cost. Okay. So kailan natin ginagamit ang amortized cost? If number 1, the financial asset held within a business model whose objective is to hold financial assets to collect the contractual cash flows. Okay? So it is hold for collection. Okay? And then number 2, the contractual terms of the financial assets give rise on specified dates to cash flows that are solely payments of principal and interest. Ibig sabihin, from this dalawang requirement natin or conditions natin, you can draw na ang binabayaran natin dito ay debt instrument. Okay? Debt instrument. So kapag debt instrument po, you have the option to use amortized cost. So, pwede mo bang gamitin ang kapag nag-purchase ka ng shares, pwede mo bang gamitin ang amortized cost? The answer is no. It is only applicable kapag debt. Okay? So, kaya titignan niyo sa baba. Meron kayong classification. Financial asset at amortized cost. Okay? So, ang type ng instrument na pwede mong gamitan ng amortized cost or using the effective interest method is yung debt instrument lang. So, okay. So, ano ba example ng debt instrument na to para mas ma-picture ninyo? So remember, kapag kayo po ay, 'di ba, natutunan ninyo 'yan na isa sa mga financing source of finance natin is yung pag-issue ng bonds. Okay? So in this perspective, kaya siya nagiging financial asset, ikaw yung bumili ng bonds. Kunwari, kailangan ko ng puhunan sa business. Nagbebenta ako, sabi ko sa inyo, bumili kayo ng bonds ko. Okay? Ibig sabihin, liability on my part, asset on your part. Okay? Ibig sabihin, receivable on your part. Alright? Okay, so those are example of your debt, type of instrument under debt. Bonds payable po yan. Sa perspective nung issuing company at sa bumibili naman, receivable yan. Okay? So, or financial asset. Okay. Next, we also have financial asset at fair value through profit and loss. Okay, but before that, unahin ko na lang muna to. Financial asset at fair value through other comprehensive income. So pag financial asset held through other comprehensive income, pwedeng debt instrument ito, pwedeng equity instrument. Okay? So pwede dito ang bonds, pwede rin dito ang shares. Okay? It depends upon the company kung paano niya i-account yan. Kasi dito naman sa taas, pwede din debt or equity, fair value through profit and loss. Parehas lang sila. Pero it depends upon the company kung anong gagamitin niya. Through profit or loss ba yan or through OCI? Depende yan sa nature kung paano niya, ano yung purpose niya ng pag-hold doon sa financial instrument na meron sila. Okay. So kapag financial asset held through other comprehensive income, ang changes in fair value na, ang ginagamit nating measurement dito is your fair value model. Ibig sabihin, we assess at the end of each period kung ano yung fair value ng inyong financial asset. And any gain or loss shall be accumulated through your other comprehensive income. Other comprehensive income po. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na financial asset held through other comprehensive income. Kasi yung gain or loss niya, nasa other comprehensive income po mapupunta. So, ano ba yung purpose kung bakit tayo nagkakaroon nitong FBOCI na to? Ibig sabihin po, yung debt at saka yung equity is hinuhold natin for collection, kasi debt nga. At the same time, ibibenta din natin afterwards. Pero, kung para mas ma-imagine ninyo um, para mas ma-imagine ninyo ng madali, ang purpose kasi ng FBOCI is debt at saka equity. So, for collection at saka for sale. So, yung for sale, yung equity instrument, i-hold mo muna siya ng medyo matagal. Okay? Pero, kapag ayaw mo naman siyang i-hold, dito ka naman pupunta ngayon sa financial asset at fair value through profit and loss. Okay, ang purpose naman kung bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng FBTPL will be other than held for collection and other than and held for collection and sale. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi mo siya ma-qualify under dito, or ayaw mo siyang i-qualify under dito, ito yung magiging option mo. Okay? Usually, ano nilalagay natin sa financial asset through profit and loss? Usually po, ang nilalagay po natin dito is yung mga for disposal. Kaya nga po, ang FBTPL ninyo is nasa current asset nyo po yan. Okay? Ito yung tinatawag ninyong before na trading securities. Kasi gusto mo ma-dispose na yan agad. Okay? Ready ka na i-dispose or ibenta yan agad-agad. Kaya siya profit and loss kasi 'di ba PNL, current assets, 'di ba, mapupunta sa current operations, right? So, what are the audit objectives and procedures na kailangan natin when we are doing audit of investment? Okay. So, existence para ma-ensure ninyo na okay. So, existence para ma-ensure po ninyo that all investments are reported at the reporting date exists and are either held by entity or by others entity. So, tinitignan po dito yung mga reconciliation kasi baka mamaya may na-dispose ka na. Okay? And we also have occurrence that all income recorded from investment has accrued at the reporting date. Okay? may entitled ka dun sa income na nire-recognize mo. Okay? So again, ikaw po yung may hawak, ikaw po yung bumili ng financial assets dito. So ang earnings mo po is in the form of interest income. Completeness, that all investment owned by the entity are reported in the financial statements. Accuracy, tama ba yung computation? Are these financial assets reflected in your balance sheet accounts? Okay? You also have accuracy, valuation, and allocation. Same with explanation ng accuracy. Rights and obligations. So, anong tinitesting natin dito? Ang tinitignan nyo po dito is yung documents. Kasi, di ba, financial assets are technically intangible yan. Wala kayong makikita dyan. Okay? So, bine-verify mo yung documents kung talaga bang yung company mo or ikaw mismo yung or yung client mo, yun po yung may-ari ng financial assets na ito. Okay? Classification, ayun. So, meron tayong, tama ba, proper po ba yung pagkakapresent ng inyong financial assets? Should it be through amortized cost, through other comprehensive income, or through profit and loss? Presentation and disclosure, ano po yung measurements na ginamit natin? At saka yung mga investment sa related parties such as associates, subsidiaries, inilalagay po yun sa disclosures. Okay. Next. Okay. So, ano naman yung tinatawag nating equity instrument? When you say equity instrument, ang focus po nito is shares. Alright? So, kapag po ikaw ay gusto mo mag-invest, pwede kang bumili ng shares sa stocks exchange or doon mismo sa company kung hindi naman sila publicly publicly traded entities, pwede kang bumili diretso doon sa company. So, yung ownership na mabibili mo, will depend yung shares na mabibili mo, doon po nakadepende kung ano yung magiging klaseng investment yung nabili mo. Okay? If it is less than 20%, ibig sabihin, medyo maliit lang, you can account for this financial is investment as doon sa na-discuss natin kanina. It's either financial assets through profit and loss or financial assets through other comprehensive income kapag less than 20%. Kapag 20% to 50%, iba naman accounting ang gagamitin natin. Yung shares na nabili mo, it will be considered as an investment in associate. So, ano nga ba yung associate? Ibig sabihin, meron kang significant influence. Okay, significant lang. Okay? Pero kapag meron kang more than 50%, ang investment na nabili mo will now be accounted under investment in subsidiary, which you will be discussing in accounting for special transaction or business combination. Okay? So, ano pagkakaiba ng investment in associate at saka investment in subsidiary? Pag investment in associate, you have a significant influence. Matter kasi yun, guys, pagdating sa corporation. Kasi kapag meron kang significant influence, you can help in the management. May say ka. Kasi may voting powers ka, 20% yan eh. Alright? Pero kapag ikaw ay majority stockholder, hindi lang significant influence ang meron ka. You have control. When you say you have control, mas malaki yun compared sa significant influence, di ba? Ang significant influence, you can influence only a certain amount of the decision. May say ka lang, pero minimal lang, 20%. Pero pag majority ka, it's more of power na yun eh. Control na yun sa corporation. Kaya, ang accounting natin doon is investment in subsidiary. Kapag meron kang investment in subsidiary, requirement po na magkakaroon kayo ng tinatawag nating consolidated financial statements. Kasi kapag meron kang investment in subsidiary, considered ka na as a parent. O, di ba? Nagkaanak ka na. Okay? Pero pag investment in associate lang ang investment mo, hindi po yan kailangan ng consolidation. Okay? financial statements pa rin kayo ni associate mo at saka ikaw. Okay? So, let's try to check on illustrative problem number 1. I think we will only discuss up to page 7. Yeah. Until held for sale. Kasi the purpose of that, bakit hanggang page 7 lang, hindi niyo po ma-appreciate yung auditing for the succeeding topics because hindi pa niya po yan napapag-aralan sa concept, under the concept of financial accounting, or actually that is already advanced financial accounting. Okay? Next sem nyo pa yun. So, ang hirap i-audit kapag yung basic concepts ng mga topics na yun, hindi nyo pa po alam. Okay? So, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 1. Itong dinidiscuss ko ngayon, na-discuss na po ito if you are not aware sa Intermediate Accounting 1. Okay? So, illustrative problem, equity instrument, through profit and loss, other comprehensive income, associate. Okay. So, during your audit, Spini Corporation, so ang ating in-audit ay si Spini. The following transactions were revealed. June 1, nag-purchase ka daw po ng 12,000 of the 60,000 outstanding shares of of BB Company at 5 pesos per share. Okay. On May 1, BB Company paid dividends amounting to 15,000 pesos. On December 1, BB Company paid dividends amounting to 25,000 pesos. BB Company earns monthly profit of 5,000 pesos. The fair value of BB shares is 5.5 on December 31, 2024. Okay. For requirement number 1, determine the amount to be recognized in the profit or loss if the investment is classified as under profit or loss, other comprehensive income, or under investment in associate. Okay. So you have to check first kung okay. So you have to check first yung FA, FBTPL at saka OCI, pwede mo daw po yan gamitin kapag less than 20% yung ownership. Okay? Pero yung investment in associate shall be used kapag 20% to 50% ang binili mong shares. Okay? So let's check kung magka-qualify ba. But for academic purposes, tinatanong ka lang niya kung what if daw ang gagamitin natin ay through profit or loss, through other comprehensive income, investment in associate, ano yung magiging recognized profit or loss mo. Okay? So, i-check nyo muna ito. Ito, ilang percent yung binili ni Spini sa BB shares. So, 12,000 shares over 60%. Ilan mo na yan? I think that's 20%. So, qualified siya para sa investment in associate. Okay? So, una muna, what if true profit and loss? Okay, so true profit and loss, ano yung mapupunta sa inyong profit? Okay, so una, ito na lang pala, meron kang dividend income na na-receive. Okay? Hold on. Okay. So, kung titignan niyo po yung requirement number 1, you have to multiply 25% to 20% because that's the ownership. Okay. Pero ma'am, take note, meron siyang dalawang dividends na binayaran. Bakit yung 25 lang? Take note of the date. Okay? Yung date na binigay yung dividends na 15,000, it was dated May 1. While si Spini, bumili siya June 1. So, entitled ba siya dun sa dividends? The answer is no. Okay? Entitled lang siya dito sa 25,000. So, 25,000 times 20%, that's 5,000. Aside from that, you have to record yung changes sa fair value. Yung na-discuss natin kanina, pag true profit and loss, yung changes in fair value will be recorded as gain or loss pag na mapupunta naman sa P&L natin. Okay? So, nabili mo siya ng 5 pesos. At the end of the year, naging 550. So, meron kang increase ng 0.5. Okay. 0.5 times ilang shares ang meron ka, you have 12,000 shares, 6,000 pesos increase. Okay? Na mapupunta sa profit and loss. So, ang mapupunta po sa profit and loss ninyo is a total of 11,000. Next. Punta naman tayo, what if it is held through other comprehensive income? Pag other comprehensive income, the gain or loss in the changes in the market price, yung 0.5 na to, will go to your other comprehensive income. It is different from your profit and loss. O, diba? Natutunan nyo yan. Basic accounting, iba ang P&L sa OCI. Okay. Yung 0.5 times 12,000, i-account po natin yan under your accumulated other comprehensive income. While, meron pa bubang pupunta sa P&L? Meron pa po. Yung share niya dito sa dividends na 25,000. That's why, for requirement number 2, ang mapupunta lang po sa P&L kapag ang investment na to is considered as through other comprehensive income will be 25,000 times 20%. Paano kapag investment in associate? Pag investment in associate, para lang kayong nag-a-account dito ng capital. Okay? So, nag-invest ka kay associate. Oh. So, kapag binigyan ka ng dividends, it's in the form of withdrawal. Okay? So, titignan natin. Pag ikaw ay capital, ano ba ang nagbabago kapag ikaw ay isang owner, 'di ba? Ang nagbabago sa iyong capital balance ay share in net income at saka dividends. Okay. So ang mapupunta po dito sa requirement number 3 sa P&L is only the share in net income. Okay, magkano ba yung naging net income ni BB? So 5,000 kailan ka pumasok sa eksena? June 1. So, June 1 to December, that's 7 months. 5,000 times 7 months, that's 35,000. Times mo yung 20% na ownership mo. Okay? Kasi yun yung share mo sa BB company. Okay? So, ang share mo sa profit will be 7,000. Yan po yung mapupunta sa P&L ni, ang pangalan nito is Stevie ba? Is Pini. Share niya sa profit ni investment ni associate niya. 7,000 pesos. Hindi kasama yung change in market price. Okay? Hindi kasama yan. Kasi kapag owner ka, di ba, hindi mo naman ina-account yung change in market price. Okay? Next, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 2. Okay. So, for number 2, medyo mahirap po ito. Okay. So, dito po, kailangan ni, sige, basahin muna natin yung problem. So, meron tayo ditong unrealized gain or loss presented under accumulated OCI and equity as of December 31, 2023. Unrealized gain on OCI and equity as of 2024. The amount to be recognized in 2025 P&L arising from the investment in bonds, unrealized gain or loss presented under accumulated OCI as of December 31, 2025, and the carrying amount of the investment in bonds as of December 31, 2025. Okay. Sige. So the following information is provided to you during the conduct of your audit of TMZ Corporation for the calendar year 2025. Bonds were purchased on December 1, 2022 amounting to 6.5 million, 10% for 5,130,185. So, ibig sabihin, ito na po yung starting point ninyo sa amortization schedule. Okay? It is classified as financial asset at fair value through other comprehensive income. Effective interest is 12%. Okay. The bonds will mature December 31, 2026. Interest is paid annually. The selling price of the bond is at 99 on December 31, 2022 and 98 on December 31, 2023. Okay. TMZ Corporation reclassified the investment to amortize costs due to changes in business model in 2024. Okay. So the prevailing interest on 2024 is 9%. So let's compute for the net unrealized gain or loss presented under the OCI in equity as of December 31, 2023. Okay. Game. Sige po. So, since this is a bond, kailangan po nating mag-prepare dito ng amortization schedule. Hindi ko na po kayo tuturuan ng amortization schedule kasi third year na po kayo, dapat marunong na kayo, ha? Okay. So, kung i-scroll po ninyo sa baba, nandito na po yung amortization schedule. I'll just to do a recap na lang, sige, para lang sa kapakanan ninyo. Okay, dito po nilalagay kung magkano yung present value nung 2022 nung na-issue yung bonds. Yung nominal interest is base yan doon sa saan yan naging base? Sa tawag doon. Nominal rate na nasa face ng bonds, 10%. Okay? 10% po ito, saan minultiply? Minultiply po yan doon sa face value ng bonds. Dapat 6.5, bakit 400,000? Ulit. Dali lang ha. Parang mali. Mali ito kasi dapat 650 ang nominal interest mo. Okay. This should be 650 not 400,000. Kasi kung titignan ninyo dito, yun din yung ginamit niya. I don't know bakit yan hindi yan 650,000. Pero guys, ang nominal interest kasi, 'di ba? Sige, para mas maintindihan ninyo. Ang nominal interest po kasi is based on the face ng bonds. Okay, nung bumili po si TMZ, bumili tayo ng bonds kay TMZ, ang face value po ng bonds ay 6.5 million at 10%. Ibig sabihin, kailangan mong magbayad at the end of, kailan ba? At the end of 2026 ng 6.5 million, pero may interest yan na 10%. Okay? So, yung 10% na payment mo, yun yung magiging annual payment mo. So, palitan nyo na lang po ito, ha? Ayan. Okay. And then, yung effective interest will be your effective interest, which is 12%, multiplied by the carrying value. Okay. Let me just check kung tutugma yung carrying value. Pero feeling ko hindi. Kasi dito pa lang, yung amortization mo pa lang, mali na. Kasi dapat dyan, 600, okay. For 2022, ang effective interest natin, 5,130, 185 times 0.12, tama naman, 615,622. However po, different na yung nominal interest natin eh. 650,000, nominal effective. So this is issued at Tama naman. 650,000 minus 615,622. Ang amortization po nito ay 34,378. So, paki-correct na lang 'to ha. Pero we will just assume na tama ito for presentation purposes. Ano ba 'to? Pangit nung handout. So, since magbabago na rin po itong amortized cost, sige, computein lang natin magkano yung amortized cost. So, this is issued at a discount kasi mas mataas ang effective interest. Okay. 5,130, 185. Feeling ko mali yung amount eh. Hindi, pero sige, later. Good. Okay na yan. I-correct ko lang ng saglit ha. 5,130, 185 plus 34, 378. This is 5,164,563. 5,163 times 0.12. This one should be 619,747.56. Tapos, minus 619. This is 30,252.44. Plus 5,164,563. Hirap. Anyways, let's just assume na yung figures dito ay tama para lang, pero you just prepare the correct amortization table dito ha. Okay. So for this one, so mali po yung requirement number 1 at saka requirement number 2. Sige. Sa requirement number 1, what should be the gain or loss presented under the accumulated OCI in equity as of December 31, 2023? So ang accumulated OCI po nito is yung fair value minus yung carrying value niya on December 31, 2023. Okay? So, ang fair value po nito is yung quoted price natin on December 31, 2023. Sabi niya, it is issued, the selling price of the bond is 0.98. So, 6.5 times 0.98, that's 6,370,000. Less yung amortized cost which will be getting doon sa inyong amortization table kung tama sana ito. So for this case, na-compute ko naman pala hanggang 2023. This should be 5,194,815.44. Yung difference, yan po yung mapupunta, syempre mali, kayo na lang mag-compute, mapupunta po yan sa other comprehensive income. Okay? Kasi nga, computed siya as under fair value through other comprehensive income. Okay, so for number 2 naman, magkano daw po yung accumulated OCI as of December 31, 2024? So sa December 31, 2024, sa December 31, 2024, let's check. Okay. Meron ba tayong selling price ng bonds? The answer is wala po. So, di ba hindi sinabi kung ano yung selling price ng bonds. Pero meron tayong prevailing interest na 9%. So, kung babalikan po ninyo yung discussion natin kanina, it was mentioned here actually. Nahanap ko lang para lang maalala ninyo. here. If the quoted price is not available, ang gagamitin natin is yung present value ng related cash flows. Okay? So, ano ba yung present value ng related cash flows natin? Okay? So, you have to secure a copy of your present value table. Ano ba ang present value ng cash flows natin noong 2024? So, di ba, meron tayong 6.5 million na marireceive na bayad doon sa utang natin. Ito yung face value ng liability. Pero, ang date na po natin ay December 31, 2024. Magbabayad pa yan ng 2025 at the same time, fully paid na yan ng 2026. Okay? So, kung titignan ninyo, 2 years po yan. Alright? So, ito, paano natin nakuha itong 8.14? It is present value of 1 at ilang percent? 9%, I think. At 9% for 2 periods. Bakit 2 periods? Kasi 2024 na po ito. Okay? Ang present mo ay 2024. Kailan mababayaran yung liability? 2026. So, from December 2024 to December 2026, you have 2 years. Okay? And then, yung present value of interest. Okay. Yung present value ng interest, 6.5 times 10% times, ito naman, kasi annual payment po ito, di ba? So, gagamitin mo naman, binabayaran po yan at the end of the year, present value of ordinary annuity. PB of ordinary annuity. Kayo na lang magsulat. At 9% for 2 periods. Okay? So, you check yung inyong amortization, yung inyong present value factor table. Okay? So, ang fair value natin for December 31, 2024 is 6,614,465. Ililes mo yung carrying value ng iyong bonds based on the amortization table, which in this case, ito po mali. So, if in case lang, correct lang yan, ima-minus mo yan dito. But you just have to correct it. Okay? I-correct nyo na lang po yan. And then you can get yung gain ninyo for that should be presented in your other comprehensive income. Okay. Requirement number 3, ano daw po ba yung requirement number 3? Ang requirement number 3 is amount recognized in 2025 profit and loss arising from investment in bonds. Okay. Okay. So, for this one, ang profit lang na i-recognize mo ay yung interest income. Okay? Ang interest income po natin dito, 2025 is ito. Okay? So, that's your interest income. Ma'am, bakit hindi po yung 650,000? Take note, your nominal interest, ito po yung inyong interest receivable. Kasi yan yung marireceive mo. Pero talaga, ang income mo lang ay ito. Kasi yan yung based on effective interest rate. Interest income, interest receivable is not equal to your interest income, ha? Kasi may amortization pa yan eh. Meron pang i-apply partly papunta doon sa inyong, dito, sa inyong carrying value. Okay? So, ano ba yung requirement number 4? Requirement number 4 is net realized gain or loss presented under OCI as of December 31, 2025. The answer is 0. Bakit po 0? Kasi nilipat na po natin yung meron tayong transaction dito wherein sabi niya ni-reclassify na daw yung investment to amortized cost. So kapag amortized cost, hindi na po yun mapupunta sa other comprehensive income. So, magiging 0 na po yan pagdating ng 2025. Okay? And then, for requirement number 5, carrying amount of the investment in bonds as of December 31, 2025, look at your amortization table. Okay? Your amortization table, kung tama yan, ang magiging sagot ninyo, tinatamad na lang akong i-recompute kasi, will be 6,167,114. Okay? Next, let's proceed to your investment in associate. So, pag investment in associate, isipin nyo kayo ay owner. Pero, 20% to 50% lang. So, anong ginagawa dito? Okay? So, para kikita ka, kailangan meron kang share dun sa net income. Yun lang ang share mo. Tapos, you will treat dividends as if it is considered as your withdrawals. Okay, so tignan natin. Illustrative problem number 3. Main Company acquired 40% of Jane Company's ordinary share in January 1, 2024 for 500,000 pesos. The reported profit of Jane Company is 230%. So magkano share mo dyan? 40%. And it paid a dividend of 63%, 63,000. So from the 63,000, you multiply it to 40%, yun yung binalik sa'yo. On December 31, 25% of the investment was classified as held for sale under PFRS 5 non-current assets held for sale. Total fair value of the investment was 620,000. The cost to sell incurred by Main is 3% of the selling price. So, kailangan natin amount of retained investment, magkano daw po yung share ni Main kay Jane as of the end of the year at saka magkano yung amount to be classified as held for sale. Ang amount to be classified as held for sale will follow yung PFRS 5 which states na ang measurement po ng assets held for sale will be the carrying value or fair value less cost to sell whichever is lower. Okay? Kakadiscuss lang natin po nito sa I think intermediate accounting 3. Okay. So tignan muna natin yung amount of retained investment. Magkano yung natira kay Min? Okay? So, binili po niya yung 500,000. Nagkaroon siya ng share in net income, 230,000 times 40%. Tapos, yung 63,000 na dividends like return of capital yan ha. 63,000 times 40%, 25,200. So, ang natira sa kanya as of the year end is 566,800. Kaso, yung 25% doon, held for sale na. Okay. So, magkano na lang ang natira kay Main Company? Ang natira na lang sa kanya is the 75%, tantamount to 425,100. Okay. Yung held for sale, ano ang carrying value niyan? So, computein nyo magkano yung 25% nito. Ang 25% nito is 141,700. Okay. Now, let's compute for the fair value less cost to sell. Okay. Ang fair value daw po ng investment right now is 620. Okay. And may cost to sell na 3%. So, 620 times 25% times 1.03 times 0.97 pala kasi ima-minus nga pala hindi i-add. Times 0.97 because the 3% is the cost to sell. That is 151,350. Whichever is lower, yun po yung i-reclassify natin sa investments held for sale. Okay? So, that's it for your handout or last topic for auditing. Take note, yung the rest of the topics will be considered as bonus sa exam ninyo because you will not understand this dahil i-discuss pa lang po yan next semester. Hindi nyo po ito maiintindihan. Okay, so yun lang. Good luck on your exams.